Okay, Facebook, thanks for waiting for me to let you get in the way sometimes. But hey, whenever you find a comedian who's also an Army veteran with 2 unicorns on his bed, we're going to have a party. This is going to be fun. Today on Comic Spot, we have this Army veteran and that Army veteran and 2 unicorns on a bed. Chris Kidder over there is a comedian based in Los Angeles, California. And when he's not on stage, he can be found creating sketch comedy. I have to be quiet for the.
No, my son was running in. I'm telling him.
Oh, I thought that I was waking up the unicorns. He can be found creating sketch comedy and hosting his live show on YouTube, Kidder's Comedy Corner. He's amazing. I was on a show with him this last week. Laughter on Lockdown, South Africa. He's hilariously funny on stage, and I know he is off stage too. His last name says it all. Welcome to this little tiny stage, Chris Kidder. Woo! Hi,
Woo!
Chris.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
Fantastic.
What's going on in LA these days?
A whole lot of nothing. I would assume that's how it is everywhere. I did my first live show this week, so that was fun.
How fun is that? Tell me about it. How did it go?
It went really well. It was weird because it was like in a parking lot, like alley between 2 buildings and a train track.
Wow.
And a train went by like every 3 minutes. So the train was heckling the comedians all night because it would be quiet. And then it would just come out from behind the building and it would be super loud. It was freaking everyone out. But it was a lot of fun. It was great just being on stage and just being in front of a crowd. We had probably about 40 people and everyone was spread out and it was nice. It was really nice.
Wonderful. I went on one live show since the lockdown. Nobody wore masks and nobody was social distancing. And I was counting the days to make sure I didn't get sick after. So yeah. Give it up for wearing masks and social distancing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. We have to do our thing. I just found out one of my family members in Texas caught the virus and is in the hospital. And, so we're all praying for her. But it's like, I went to Texas about 5 or 6 weeks ago for a family reunion. And I was shocked. No one was wearing masks anywhere. And actually, I went into Walmart and got really bad looks because I was wearing a mask, I would assume. Because no one else was wearing them. I was pretty surprised.
I've gotten some really strange looks wearing masks when other people aren't wearing them. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy what people are arguing about while the sky is falling around us.
Exactly. Linda, are you here in LA? Are you Vegas? Where are you?
I'm Vegas now.
Vegas, yeah. Baby. That's awesome.
Yeah. I started in Riverside County, San Bernardino County, and LA County, and then from Portland. So I went up there. I went to New York a couple times, and now I'm here, and this is it.
How'd you like comedy in New York?
Oh, my God. I got to be on 23 or 25 shows in 3 months.
Oh, wow. That's a lot. That's great.
And I still have to pay for my Starbucks. I just don't understand the world. You know how New York is. You can be on, and half of them are bringers, so, whatever. Yeah. Somebody handed me $50 for telling jokes one night. I was like, what?
That's awesome.
In New York, whoa, I can buy myself some fruit.
Or parking, maybe.
Yeah. The world has your comedy taken you, Chris. I saw you on a billboard in Los Angeles. Like it said, Chris Kidder on the marquee.
Did it? Where was that?
Pictures. I think it was like a Comedy Store, one of them big ones.
Oh, I don't know. I've been all over LA. Improv, the Ice. I love the Ice House because I live in Glendale, which is just a small town right north of LA, downtown LA, and the Ice House is in Pasadena. So that it's just a really nice comedy club. I like the feel of that comedy club. But yeah, I've been all over. I just started doing shows down in Long Beach too, right before COVID happened, which was great. I met a comedy booker down there and she started booking me, and she's actually booked me a lot in quarantine.
Wow.
So that's nice. But yeah, just all over LA. I was really hoping to go to Buffalo because that's spent part of my life in Buffalo. I have a lot of friends and family there. Was hoping to go to Buffalo this summer and hit some comedy clubs up there, but that isn't going to happen.
No.
So
This
I'm just going to
darn
keep my
shut-in.
distance. Yep.
Yeah. You can love Buffalo like God loves us from a distance, like he's
Yeah.
watching us.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've seen happen during the lockdown that's actually kind of funny? I know the lockdown isn't funny, but the way people act is like the funniest thing you've seen happen.
The funniest thing, I don't know. Like I'm not out that much. Honestly, Linda,
That's okay.
I get outside maybe like outside of my property, maybe twice a week. Um, I I made a video. I would say like the funnest thing and funniest thing was I made a video with a friend. I think about 6 weeks ago and put it on my YouTube. But it was right after I saw on the news some guy in San Diego decided to wear a Ku Klux Klan mask to a grocery store, and it was just and it made national news, and I'm sure it went beyond our borders. But I mean, it was just a little ridiculous, like, and everything going on just to it, whether you think it's funny or not, it's not, and it's just it's mean, it's hateful, and so immediately after I retaliated with love and wore that unicorn mask right there. Trying to point to it backwards.
Oh, so cool.
So I wore the unicorn mask in conjunction with Pavilions grocery stores. I talked to corporate and they let me do it. And so we shot a video of me walking around and greeting people in a unicorn mask. So it was a lot of fun, and the employees and people were coming up taking photos, and it was just a way to make people smile and spread some love, because there's just so much hate going on right now, and there's so much. So I mean, I've never heard the term Karen used so much as we have in like the last month and a half. And there's a reason for that. And it's everyone's walking around angry and pointing fingers and calling people out. You're not wearing a mask. You're not wearing a mask, and whatever. And it's a little ridiculous. So I think right now the best thing I can do for me and my family, I have little kids, like, it's just be a positive person, and try to make people laugh. And, so I'm not out enough to say, oh, that's funny. That's funny. I'm finding a lot of funny stuff on the internet. And I'm trying to be funny, trying to create stuff that's going to make people laugh.
So you have things that you do on the internet. You have a show that you produce. Is that correct?
Yep.
And what's the name of your show again?
The show is called Kidder's Comedy Corner. It rolls off the tongue nicely. I don't know.
I love it. And where do you find it?
On my YouTube channel. So you can just YouTube or Google search Chris Kidder, or youtube.com/Chris Kidder. And it's all there. But yeah, we're live every Thursday night. It's just a fun, more like a talk show / game show with trivia.
Wow. Talk show, game show, and trivia. Sounds so fun.
Yep. I host comedians. Look, I think you've done virtual shows. We're all doing virtual shows. We're trying to evolve. One thing I noticed at the beginning of our lockdown was people were trying to like create virtual shows really quickly and try to do something because they couldn't get on stage, and me included. I was doing the same thing. But I noticed after a few weeks that comedians need that live audience. They need that interaction on stage. You don't get that online. So it's different. Like, you have to interact with this camera differently. You have to play with it. And it has to be a conversation like you and I right now. Like, if we're going to be funny, we have to have a conversation and be funny. I have to tell you a funny story as though we're friends, and I'm going to run through the whole story like I would tell any of my other friends. It's different when you're on stage. So people had to evolve quickly. Well, the problem is a lot of comedians haven't been able to do that. So time and time again, we are constantly seeing comedians get up and just fall flat on their face trying to do virtual comedy. There's no laughter. It's really awkward pauses. So because of that, I wanted to create a show where I could entertain people, because that's the purpose of my show. It's just strictly entertainment. It's to make people laugh and make people smile and escape for an hour or two. So we started doing the trivia because it makes it more interactive for the audience. And then with the comedians, because I host 3 comedians each week, is we show a video clip. So the reason why we cut to a video clip is because that material's vetted out. It's stuff that's been tested in front of audiences and mics and all that. And now it's a recording of them at the Ice House. It's a recording of them at the Hollywood Improv. It's a recording of them, at the Cellar in New York, whatever, wherever they might be. It's a recorded in front of an audience, the audience members laughing. I mean, it's like if you look up a video of a comedian on YouTube and watch their stuff, you're laughing, right? You feel that energy, but you also hear the crowd laughing. That helps cue laughter. Yes. And so I incorporated that into my shows, and my audience loves it. And the comedians seem to be really well receptive because the pressure's off of trying to make people laugh on a live virtual show. So it's just a lot of fun.
Thursday nights, what time is it live on your YouTube, Chris?
7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern.
That always cracks me up when we tell New Yorkers what time 7 our time is. It's like, what, we think that they can't add 3 to anything.
Yeah.
It's like, we keep handing you this information. You don't even have to Google it. We're handing it to you. If you don't put it out there, somebody from the East Coast will say, what time is that on the East Coast?
Well, Linda, I saw someone just yesterday ask, what is PST? Like someone said it was like they were saying, oh, it's something at 2 p.m. PST. And then I saw just a random person that I didn't know just say, oh, what is PST? And then there was a bunch of trolls jumping on them like Pacific Standard Time.
Here's what PST is.
Exactly.
Pacific Standard.
Exactly.
Gosh. Tell me when you got into comedy, Chris Kidder.
A few years ago. I wish I could say it was because I was inspired as a child. I know a lot of people are like that. They're like, oh, I was watching Eddie Murphy with my dad when in the 80s. And no, that wasn't my story. Actually, about 3 years ago, I had a little over 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I had an incident at a Starbucks drive-through, which resulted in a $6,000 cup of coffee and 26 hours of court-ordered anger management. So after all of that, my wife said I needed therapy. She's like, and these were her words, Linda. She goes, babe, you need therapy or go do stand-up. Those guys are always working their shit out on stage. Like, figure it out. And so
say to go back in the military.
Yeah. What's that?
Some people told their kids to go in the military for that.
Yeah, probably. Like, yeah, get out. But like, so I weighed my options. Like, do I want therapy or should I want to try to pursue stand-up comedy? And comedy won. It's definitely way cheaper than paying a therapist.
So how did that go? Because like your wife is kind of like, you better go do something about this. So in a way, you're almost like, my relationship with my wife is depending on me getting out and doing comedy. Was that nerve-wracking?
No, my wife and I've been together 19 years. She's like my biggest fan. She's my biggest supporter. And so there's no pressure either, Linda. Like I work in the film business. I've been working in the film business for 17 years now. I do set lighting on film and TV shows. And so, I mean, that's my income. So there's no pressure for me to have to go out and, try to make $100,000 a year doing stand-up comedy or anything like that. I just go up and have fun. And it's just a place for me to hash out my stuff.
In the set lighting film business, have you ever run across people that have gotten Academy Awards for set and lighting? Because Dennis Gassner went to my high school. He's my sister's friend. And he's got like Academy Awards for set lighting.
Well, I wish there were I specifically am a grip. I do grip work, which we handle all the stuff that makes the lights pretty. I wish I could say that there was an Academy Award for grips. I think I would have got one already by now, but there isn't. No, I've worked with a lot of people who've gotten Academy Awards and stuff like that. Yeah.
Wow. So where did you grow up? Did you
Uh,
already tell me? I
no,
forgot.
no, no. The first 11 years of my life, Houston, Texas, that's where my mom's side of the family is at. And then my dad's from Buffalo, in the small little town outside Buffalo, New York. And when I was 11 and a half years old, he moved us up to Buffalo. He transplanted us up there, and I lived there till I was 21. And then I moved out here on a Greyhound bus when I was 21.
What was that like moving from outside of Buffalo, not even in Buffalo, outside of Buffalo to LA?
I mean, well, first off, at 11, moving to Buffalo, that was a huge culture shock because most of my friends in Houston were Mexican. I had some Asian friends, I had some black friends, and some white friends, obviously, but it was really mixed, a lot of culture. So moved to Buffalo, a small town. I moved to a town with like 10,000 people, and everyone was white as snow. I mean, everyone was just pale, white people. There was no like Chinese food. There was no Mexican. Like you had to go into Buffalo to like get any type of Mexican food and whatnot, and it was still not very good compared to like stuff in Texas down in Houston. You know what I mean? So that was a huge culture shock at 11. And I remember coming home from school and asking my mom, like, where's all the Mexican kids? Where's all the black kids? Like, and my mom's like, that's not where we live now, you know? And so that was weird. And so after 10 years of that, and then moving to LA, again, a big culture shock because now I was thrown into tons of cultures, you know, people, you know, of all different backgrounds. And it was very weird. Honestly, Linda, it was so weird for me. And like me constantly trying to put up walls and like stay away from me. And I don't know you. And people are all in my face. I felt like everyone was in my face. So it was a huge adjustment for me. And I came with $400 in my pocket on a Greyhound bus with 2 duffel bags of clothes. I didn't know anyone west of Texas. So I really did not know and I had no game plan. I was like, I'll figure it out. I just wanted to get out, you know, I just wanted to make it out to the West Coast. And
What'd
so
you do when you got there? What did you do first, second, third, fourth?
yeah. So I met a guy on the Greyhound bus in Phoenix, and he was coming across the country, but he was from Chile, and I don't know where he got on the bus, but we talked from Phoenix all the way to LA, and we became friends. And he was coming to LA to become a butler. That was his lifelong dream, is to be a butler, which is weird because I knew nothing. I'm like, well, you want to be someone's like servants? Like I didn't understand that butlers like run estates for people and they make a lot of money. I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about it. So anyways, he told me he was staying in a hostel because he was a foreigner. And I was like, what the hell's a hostel? And he told me, you know, a place for like backpackers and stuff. But usually it's for foreigners. So if you're in the US, a lot of them won't let a US resident stay, right? Because there's laws, there's residency laws and all that. Anyways, he basically spoke for me and said we were traveling together. And so they let me stay, and they said I could stay a week. And then I bugged the shit out of the owner for about 4 days because I realized all the people who work there live there. And so for 4 days, I would not shut up. I would not stop asking this guy for a job. And then finally he hired me, and 3 hours a day, working for him 3 hours a day, paid for my bed. And I lived there for 2 years. So yeah, that was me trying to get a bed.
And how did you get into the film industry?
That honestly, I came out here. A big part of me wanted to be in front of the camera when I came out. Right. There was a lot of drive there as well, because I did a lot of like acting and, you know, theater and stuff back home. So in those first 3 years I was here, I was doing auditions. I was going out for auditions and all that. And then I met my wife, my girlfriend at the time, and she worked at a hospital. She already had her career. She was making great money. And I felt like I wasn't making anything. So very quickly I gave up acting because I wasn't making any money and went out to get real jobs. And so I started working. And then I realized I could work behind the camera. It was not that difficult. And I started looking for jobs online and basically started writing everyone, I'll work for free. I just want to learn. I'll work for free. And then I landed, after doing that for like 2 weeks, someone responded and they were doing a feature And so they brought me on to the feature for 5 weeks to work on it. And I worked for free for 5 weeks. And after that, like the work just snowballed because I made a lot of good connections on the show. And when it was over, I just kept calling everyone and telling everyone I'm available, and people just kept throwing me work. And then slowly I started going towards set lighting and that's how I did it. And then a few years later, I got on a show that turned union and got in the union.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That probably helped your finances a lot to go
Oh, absolutely.
union. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can work in the indie world and make a great living, and I did. I mean, I got a lot of commercial accounts. I eventually became the head of my department, which is called a key grip, and I landed a lot of commercial accounts, which were all independent. They were non-union stuff, you know, and you can work on something like that, make $600-700 a day, plus you're renting out some of your gear and stuff, so you're walking away making $1,000 a day, you know. So it doesn't, and that's non-union. You know, you get in union stuff, you can make that as well or more. But you know, sky's the limit.
You're such a go-getter.
I try.
You have a history of having like me being in the military. So you're an Army veteran. How many years did you serve? I served 3 years.
I did 6 years.
And what was your military occupation?
So I started, my MOS was an 88 mic at the beginning, but when I did my contract, they didn't have necessarily a spot for me as an 88 mic. So they wanted me to, so I went in as an 88 mic and then 2 years later transferred to 19 kilo, which is a tank operator.
What's an 88 mic?
Truck driver.
Yeah.
Okay, so Linda, real quick, because I don't want to sit here and just dwell on military stuff, but
No.
the best part about the military for me is the story on how I got in. So,
let's hear it.
Okay,
I want to hear it.
Here's me in high school, right? Me in high school, I didn't really like. My parents aren't college educated. You know, my mom, I don't even think she finished high school. So I had parents who were just like, "Go get a job." Like, that's all you got to do. Go get a job. My dad's like, go get a job that will get a pension and work your 9 to 5 for 40 years and retire. Like that was the mentality I was raised in. There was no like, go to school. All my friends in high school were going to colleges. They were all picking out their colleges and stuff. And I was like, well, I want to go to school. And so I found out, okay, well, I'm going to go to school for microelectronic engineering, the guys who basically build microchips, microprocessors. So, and honestly, the main driver was that they make good money. That's all that there was. I'm like, beyond that, I'm like, whatever. And I was good at math and science. So I'm like, I'll go for that. I got into the school, Rochester Institute of Technology, which is it's one of 2 schools that offer that program. And it's a very hard school to get into. I got in, my parents saw that the tuition was over $30,000 and they laughed and they're just like, no, we're not paying for that. And so I had no idea what I was going to do. And so in my senior year, it was March, it was in the spring, my senior year, my car broke down and my buddy's car broke down. And my buddy asked me, he goes, you know, Chris, can you take me to the recruiter's office after school? And I was like, the recruiter, he's like, yeah, I'm going to join the Army. And I was like, okay. I was like, all right. So I drove him to school, or I drove him to the recruiter office after school, and we're in the office. And I was sitting just around the corner from where him and the recruiter were sitting, kind of sitting down where they had magazines and stuff, a little waiting area. And I heard the recruiter say, yeah, you know, after a couple of years, we can give you the Montgomery GI Bill and get you into college and all that stuff. And it's free. And so like all of a sudden, like my ears perked open. I was like, what? Like free college? And so I just did one of these, like looking around the corner and just started listening. And then after about 5 minutes of hearing the recruiter just yeah. And so I got up and walked over to his desk and I was like, hey man, I was like, can I join? And he goes, what? Because at the time, I don't know if it's the same, they had quotas, right? Yes. So I was like, yeah, can I join? He was like, yeah, here, have a seat. And I sit down next to my buddy. And he goes, why do you want to join? I go, I don't know. I heard you say free money for college. My parents don't have money. I don't have money. I'm poor. You know, I want to go to college. And he goes, great, man. He goes, well, what's your name? Social Security. He looks it all up, right? And he goes, okay, I don't know if they still do this. It was called the ASVAB. It was like a standardized test, and it was it's basically a military test to find out like where you score.
Yes.
And so he goes, you got really good ASVAB scores. He goes, what do you want to do? And I go, I don't even know what I can do. I go, I literally just decided I wanted to join 5 seconds ago. And he goes, well, and he gave me like a bunch of options, and they were all like things I've never heard of. And I was just like, dude, I go, I don't know. I go, look, what's the least responsible job I can have? And he goes, wait, are you serious? And I go, yeah, I'm serious. Like, what's the least responsible job I can have? And he goes, well, I guess you could be a cook. And I was like, what's the second least responsible job I can have? And he goes, probably like a truck driver. And I was like, done. I like driving. I'll be a truck driver. And that's honestly how I got into the military. And that might be why I didn't like it that much. And I didn't enjoy the process. I didn't, I was, if anyone watching this has seen Natural Born Killer, or not Natural Born Killers, but Full Metal Jacket. At the very beginning, you got Gomer Pyle. He's one of the dudes who kind of loses it, right? But he's laughing the whole time, and the sergeants end up, kicking his butt. I was that guy. Like, I was the guy laughing. I thought it was hilarious because I knew they were all trying to like brainwash you and try to like get you all to think alike and everything. And so when the drill sergeants were in other people's faces screaming at them, I was laughing. And I noticed things like when we were having chow, it's lunch, right? And we're having chow, the drill sergeants are all sitting off to the side. You could hear them talking shit about people, like what they did to, like, I'm like, it's all a game. And so that was the part where like I disconnected. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not a puppet. I'm not someone, I don't want to be someone's puppet. And in mad respect, again, like I did my service and I have family members who are currently serving. I have family members overseas right now. Like, mad respect. I have friends who've lost limbs. I've had friends that have given their life. Like, mad respect. But for me, I did my time and that was it. Like, that's why they call them lifers, right, Linda? Like, you have people who are lifers. Like, they love it. They love the whole routine. I would say it's a routine, right? It's a daily boom, boom, boom. Everything is in order. And people love that. And I couldn't do it personally.
Yeah. I went in the 70s, in 73.
Okay.
And when I got to, everything was fine during all the training I went through, no problems really. I did break out crying really hard in basic training. I'm surprised they didn't send me home. But when I got to Germany, that's where they put me during the Vietnam War. They wanted me as far away from the fighting as possible. So they sent me to my father and mother's motherland, Germany, and put me in the town where my grandmother was born. Those are all positives, right? Full circle moments. Yeah. Except for when I got there, the other lady that was military said, well, I'm glad you're here. I'm leaving. So it was me and 2,000 men on the post. And there was no Me Too movement, no Gloria Allred. There was just this that was all red all the time.
Yeah.
And I learned to say no and F off 14 different ways to Sunday.
I bet.
And it was condoned. I had a lieutenant, anytime I'd walk in the room, he'd stop talking to the guys, look at me and say, they call me the 60-minute man. And one day I just, without thinking, I said, what, to get it up? I can't keep quiet, like I'll put up with it so much and then I'm going to start going off on people. So yeah,
I can't even imagine. I cannot even imagine. And honestly, there's sad shit like that happening today.
Yes,
I've read recent articles. I read one like a week ago of a woman who's no longer serving in the military. She did her time, but she's kind of coming out and telling her story. And I was just like, and this is recent. I have a daughter like that dude. Anyone touch my daughter, I will can kill them.
Yes.
Yeah, you're hearing it publicly. Yeah.
Amen to that. We had a girl that came and she was the secretary to the commander. And they came up to me and said, because like after I got there, within 6 months, women started coming. and they said, oh, we're going to give you Becky. She's a little bit different, dude. She was paranoid. She could type 4,000 words a minute, but she couldn't look nobody in the eye. And she definitely wasn't going to walk from the office to the barracks at night because she'd been gang raped in basic training. And so she would literally type and talk to thin air. She was literally out of her mind.
Wow.
Because of what she went through.
Wow.
And they wanted me to be in charge of her. Like, okay, I don't know, maybe you want to check my record. I've never been in charge of anything. And you want to, no. But fortunately, one day she flushed her paycheck down the drain in the bathroom and they sent her right home. It took that for them to realize she wasn't. I knew the day she got there when she was talking in thin air, sleeping under the commander's desk.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to point out, you crying in basic training. I saw so many people cry in basic training too. I saw that we had the biggest guy, one of the biggest guys I've ever seen. He was almost like the size of Shaquille O'Neal, like bust down crying in the bathroom, calling himself a loser in the mirror. Like I was like honestly, Linda, if they sent everyone home that cried, we wouldn't have a military. And most people go through that. And that's another thing. Like I would see these people and just start laughing. Like, are you guys freaking kidding me? Like don't let them get under your skin like that. Like it's shocking. Like people have different levels of pain and different thresholds and whatever, but I was pretty surprised of how people responded.
I know. I remember like we'd have to get woke up in the middle of the night to go police the grounds, go back to sleep 10 minutes after you fall asleep. They're waking you up to clean the bathrooms. Yeah. It's like, this is not normal. You're doing this you're trying to deprogram me so that you can build me up to be a team,
Yeah, like, exactly.
Like, I don't know. Have you seen who else is on the team? I don't know that I really want to be on this team. But you don't really have a choice. Anyway, those are
my basic training experience was, I was at Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri, and my cycle through was in the summer of '97. It was we were the first battalion of basic training battalion that had co-ed. We were the first ones that have co-ed basic training, and man, there were so many guys who hated it. So many guys, and on it, my biggest thing in all of basic training, and my biggest disappointment was we were not allowed to rappel because women can't rappel. Isn't that ridiculous?
So stupid.
They would not let us rappel because they told us women can't rappel in front of everyone, in front of women. It was, oh my gosh. And we had tons of women, I think, we probably had at least 30, 40 ladies and Foxtrot or whatever we were at the time. And yeah, a lot of guys were just pissed.
Yeah, they would be. I mean, that's not why they went into the military, to be told what they can't do because of women.
Yeah.
I remember I went in the military because I wanted to travel and I had really bad teeth. So I went to the dental place next door to my building, and they go, if you come to every appointment the whole time you're here, at the end, we'll give you some real teeth. We're going to give you permanence and all that. Well, I went to every appointment and they never followed through on their end.
Yeah, of course.
Which is a whole nother thing. But one day I'm over there at the medical place and I'm like, what's his face that usually signs us in? Oh, he stabbed a whack to death over at the whack barracks last night.
Wow.
There's crazy stuff that happened. One guy jumped out of the window to kill himself, but he tied the rope wrong and he broke both ankles. Stuff like that. Just a little math problem. That's all. Math.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. You met people. You met people that were just like a little out there. That's fun. That's fun when you meet people and you have stories, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We had one guy that would make sandwiches in the barracks with an iron and tinfoil, and he was selling them all to all the GIs, making bank.
Wow.
That's about it. So what do you want to accomplish with your comedy life once the pandemic's over?
Well, it's a good question, Linda. This year, honestly, like I was going like I was trying to go 110 miles an hour this year in 2020, right? So I had all these goals, and I still do. I track my goals every month, and um, my one of my biggest goals for 2020 was I want to be on stage doing one show minimum a week, not including open mics. Like open mics don't count. That's where we practice. But to do, you know, in front of a live audience, a real paying audience, I want to be on stage once a week minimum. And I was doing that, and actually right before COVID, I was you know getting up 5-6 shows a month, and
Wow, that's credible.
and yeah, and then I had a bunch of shows booked beyond our lockdown, and obviously those all got canceled. So or they got converted into virtual shows, that kind of thing. But
Nice.
that was my biggest thing for this year. My thing for comedy, like honestly, like I would like to be a touring comic. You know, if I get to be honored with the level of uh, having a big enough audience where I could sell out big theaters, or you know, or beyond that, you know, someone who like does like sell out the Forum or something for a couple nights in a row, like that would be amazing. I'm not gonna lie, that would be
That'd be
amazing,
great.
you know. But uh, if I started late in my life, you know, I'm 41 and I started a few years ago. I think at this point, um, my big goal for comedy is I want to be an opener for someone who is, you know, selling out the Forum. I selling out these big, you know, Madison Square Gardens. That's what I want to go on tour and be a touring comic. And the thing is, I have a 6-year-old and I have a 13-year-old. I'm not in a rush. I have, you know, even if I get there in like 10 years and my son will be 16 at that point, I don't want to rush out on the road right now, because then I'm going to miss their life. You know what I mean? Like that's important. And they honestly, Linda, they give me so much material. Like most of my material, a lot of it is around my kids and
Oh,
family life and stuff like that. And I love that. And I don't want to miss out on their younger. So I like being a local comic. I love the fact that I'm in LA. You know, to be in like LA or San Francisco or New York, those are like main comedy hubs that you want to be in, if you can, if you really want to grow as a comic. So I am very fortunate and blessed to be here. But again, like I want to be one of those opener comics for a big headliner, and you know, and go on tour and do all that stuff. But you know, I'm not. If it doesn't happen in the next 10 years, I'm not going to give up on it, because it might happen in 11 years or 12 years.
you have realistic goals and you're a goal setter and you accomplish your goals. So I know you're going to do it. I have no doubt.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like you a lot. I think you're a very funny comic and you're a nice person from what I've seen and gathered. And I'm glad that you're a dad that's involved in your kudos on that. I raised a daughter where the husband was nowhere. So
Yeah.
kudos on that.
Thank you.
And I'm sure your wife really knows what a gem she has as a husband.
She does.
That's great. She
as
does.
as she is. She is my best friend. She really is. And
How did you
she
meet? How did you meet her?
uh
People want to know how to meet a good woman or a good guy. Where do you meet?
dude, I can't even imagine living in today's world trying to meet people on like Tinder or, you know, whatever. I don't even, that's the only one that comes to mind. I know there's a bunch, but like, or was it J Date?
Yeah, JJ.
Or Christian
Yeah.
Mingle? I've now they're starting to pop up in my head because I just think they're hilarious. No, I can't imagine meeting people on the internet, because like my wife, like she reads people's text messages and she like gives them life. She puts in tonality and you know, she start, and it's like, don't, and I told her like, stop doing that. Like they might not even mean it that way, but you're making it sound like they're mad at you, and they might just be like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't come tonight. You know what I mean? And she's like, I'm sorry, I can't come tonight. And I was like, that. So that's how I imagine what it would be like for me trying to date, is like trying, you know, people
Yeah.
who put all this, you know, reading stuff out of context, essentially. My wife and I met at a comedy club on the Sunset Strip in West Hollywood, which was at the time, back in 2001, was the hot spot in LA. That's where all the nightclubs were. You could walk out of a bar, walk next door, walk into another one, and it was always packed Thursday through Saturday. And actually, I was in coming. What was I coming from? Anyways, there was this club called Dublin's. It burned down since, but I went in there with a buddy. He asked me. I got out of work, and he asked me to come jump in, be his wingman. So I'm like, sure. Went in there, and then my wife was there with her friend, and she was on the dance floor, and she was in a 2-year relationship at this point. So she's the bad person in the story. I went in there and saw her dancing on the dance floor. It was dark. I thought she was Latina. I thought she might have been Mexican or something, right? I didn't know, because it was dark. She was dark skinned. Come to find out, called her a couple of days later. She was Filipino, which was awesome. But yeah, we met on the dance floor. She still has the napkin with my number on it. She asked me if I wanted. We were dancing for a few songs. Our first song we danced to was "I'm a Slave" by Britney Spears. Wow. And she asked me if I wanted a drink. I said sure. We got to the bar, and at that point, I was hammered. I was out of my mind. Like I was wasted, and she was too. And so I was like, "You want a water?" She's like, "Yeah." So gave her a water, gave her my number, walked away, and then talked to her a few days later, and we hit it off. And shortly after that, she broke up with her boyfriend and started dating me.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. What are some things that you and your family like to do when you're not busy being a comedian? So people get to know you off stage.
So we're gamers.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gamers, live streamers. My daughter, she actually just asked me for a gaming computer because she's a big Xbox person. It's funny, a few years ago, she asked me for an Xbox. I said, you can get an Xbox, but you got to buy it. I'm not going to buy you an Xbox. You buy your own Xbox. You work, save your money, doing your chores, or ask your grandparents and get your money together. If you want an Xbox, you buy it. She said, okay. And it was like maybe 7 months later, she said, Daddy, I have enough money for my Xbox. I want to get my Xbox. I said, great. And I was really proud of her. And I think she was 9. And so I was like, fine, you saved up your money. You worked and you remembered, and now you want to buy one. So I took her to get one, got it home, set it all up. And then a couple hours later, I asked her, hey, baby, I was like, can I play on your Xbox? And she goes, yeah, you just got to buy your own controller. So that's the sense of humor my kids have. But no, we play different video games. We play board games. My daughter and I like playing some bigger strategy board games that take several hours to play. And then my son's still playing like Mousetrap. He's still playing like the little goofy board games. But if we're not doing that, we like to go to the beach and stuff like that. We're just being very cautious with the lockdown, so that's totally. Our summer has been pretty dry. We've been going over to my brother and sister-in-law's house for an occasional swim in the swimming pool, but that's about all the outings I'm willing to put my kids in. You know what I mean? Like I'm just Absolutely. Trying to protect them. But yeah, we're very outdoorsy types. I'm a hiker. My wife is the only one who's not, but I'm a hiker. I'm trying to get my kids into that.
Nice. Is there anything before we wrap up? Is there anything you want to do or say that I didn't cover or ask?
No, that's pretty solid, Linda.
Okay. Some people tell me afterwards, I wish I could have, I wish you would have. And I'm like,
I wish I could have. No, it's good. I'm, you see my unicorns. These are my unicorns. My wife bought me that big one. She bought me that big one right there. Her name's Bertha. Yes, they all have, and I have a bunch of other unicorns. I have unicorn underwear. I was telling my wife I'm probably going to get a unicorn tattoo. I just tell people like I'm like the gayest straight dude you'll ever meet. I just like, I'm into unicorns. I'm into rainbows. They make me happy. They make me smile. It's really weird. I've been into them way before it was trendy. Been into them for a very, very long time, and I think they're just good mythical creatures.
I think you're a unicorn in a dark world, is what
I
I think,
think
Chris Kidder.
honestly, that might be where it stems from. It's probably like an ego driven, like I'm a unicorn, like you have to be a unicorn to stand out and all that. It probably has some type of subconscious symbology there or something that's
Yes.
driving me to love them.
So now that you're a graduate of surviving my interview, so now you're a graduate. So every month, if you have anything to plug, you can come back on for 5 to 7 minutes and plug anything you want to plug.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
So take me up on that offer because it can always squeeze you in.
Sweet. I love it. And
you
you're
so
always
much.
welcome to be on my show if you're into pop culture trivia and want to come hang out.
I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with
Oh, yeah?
Meredith Vieira. I got to be after brain trauma in 96 from a drunk driver. I got it for free and I'm Jewish, so I'm not complaining. But after brain trauma, I repaired the VA did not repair my brain. I did it. And I wound up making it into the contestant pool and no further on Meredith Vieira's show. Meredith Vieira. So I'm good at trivia. That's what I'm saying.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, I honestly, like, Linda, I don't know how people do like trivia, like stuff like that under pressure. So there's a talk show here or radio show on 103.4. It's in the morning anyways. It's the Valentine show. They do this thing where it's called Battle of the Sexes. They have a man and a woman come on and they try to ask, questions that the other sex might not get, right? And I try. I think it was within about a 1 year period. I ended up getting on the show 3 different times, and I lost the first 2 times, and I finally won the 3rd time. But it's like they're asked questions, and you're like, the answer, but when you're under pressure, all of a sudden your brain turns off, and your brain starts searching everywhere for the answer except where it might be, and it's really weird that when you're put under the gun like that, how your brain functions differently.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I do the trivia part because I think it's fun. It's entertaining for everyone. And yeah, would love to have you on.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll put out the post and it'll have your show on it and the time and where to find it. And if there's anything else you want added, you could tell me now or you can type it and send it to me and I'll add it.
Awesome. Thank you.
And then in a couple days, this is just the original footage, just you and me. But in a couple days, my tech guy will come out with this thing that looks like a sitcom with music and credits and a screen that opens up and shuts. And I'll send that to you so you can share that.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you so much, Chris Kidder. Follow him, Google him, support him, get out and watch him when he's in LA. Or if you ever hear he's in your town, he wants to be a road comic and open for big people. So if you're out there and you're the headliner, or you're a host and you're looking for a feature, give him a ring. 1 ringy dingy or 2, it doesn't matter. Thank you, Chris Kidder.
Thank you very much, Linda. I appreciate it.
Bye. Love you lots.
Bye. Love you.
Love you.
Everybody's talking.